Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Laurel Park and the new Maryland Jockey Club for today at the races. This Saturday card, 9 races on tap, 4 stakes races. Joined today, I'm Keith Fustel, joined today by Dan Illman, our Director of Communications here at the Maryland Jockey Club. Dan, with some great hits yesterday. We got to give you props right off the bat. You come in with a horses to watch right off the website, and you like this horse yesterday. Chrissy N for Mancia, 33.40. Little stat play for us, Mr. Mendelssohn, a gallop at 16.40. So off to a very good start. Value pick 5. We've got the early and the late with the 12% takeout. You got to like that. We've got a carryover later in the card. Mackenzie Pfeiffer's going to have a ticket for you as well, but something to target in race number 5.
It's 12% low takeout. It's a great wager. You throw in a carryover, it's a fantastic wager. You throw in a 9-race program with 4 stakes races, we've got a possibility for a super day of racing here at Laurel Park. Head on over to laurelpark.com/picks. Still time to download the handicapping guide. We'll have picks from the entire team, my full race analysis, trainer stats, horses to watch, bias information. Download, handicap along with us.
Yeah, a slew of information right there at your fingertips, and guess what? You don't have to pay for it. So that's pretty good. And you've got, we've got a great group giving you insight on these races. And, I think we can take you along on some profitable runs. So please pay attention if you can. We're glad you're here with us. Glad you joined us yesterday. Looking for bigger and better things today. We're going to get you started here. This 9-race card in race 1 at Laurel Park. Maidens, 12.5. These are 3-year-old fillies. We want to cut to the weather real quick. Let's do that.
Yeah, a little rain in the forecast today.
Yeah. So you knew this hosting stuff, Dan. So we'll take a look at the weather outside. Okay. Obviously, track is fast. We got a little bit of drizzle north today, a little bit here as well. We'll kind of keep you up to date on the weather situation, possibly some little showers coming through, maybe a little bit of snow tomorrow. But 37 degrees, light winds, 12:25 first post.
Thought the main track had no bias yesterday. Yeah. Thought it was really fair, but you want to keep an eye, especially when there is precipitation in the forecast. Yes. Callie and Mackenzie in the afternoon show, Dave Rodman, they'll be taking you through it, telling you if there is rain. Of course, we'll update you on any sort of changes in track condition if the rain is heavy, and we're going to have to keep an eye to see if a path or a running style is favored.
There's a horse later in the day we talked about, and we'll touch upon it as well if later. That this horse certainly bred for the off track.
Oh, yeah.
So if moisture shows up, we'll let you know. But here's the first race. Thanks, guys. $22,000 pot, 12.5 Maiden Claiming, 3-year-old fillies. Only one scratch in here. We just have a few scratches on today's card. Love that everything pretty much stays intact. Scratch to 3. Heaven's Promise, 6 furlongs here on the main track. A little bit of price to get you started again, Dan. You're leaning 8, Marmara for Kieran McGee.
Yeah, I thought Marmara had a little bit of a trip last time out for Kieran. Got bumped at the start, steadied in the first furlong, and then on the backstretch was 4 wide, 6 path. That's a lot to ask for a lightly raced horse second time out. After a half mile, entering the turn, still 4 wide at the back. I thought this horse galloped out okay after the fact, and we've got a trainer stat for Kieran. 3rd start maidens, 3 for the last 12, 25%, a $3.27 ROI. Again, Kieran, one of those trainers, likes to give them a race or two before they strut their best stuff. We'll see what Marmara gets in here because New Boots is the horse to beat.
Yeah, and Marmara, real quick, had Trace Arias, who was second in that race on December 13th. It was, Marmara's behind a few legs, but he flattered that one a little bit. Came back to run well yesterday. Yeah, New Boots going to attract a ton of attention from leading trainer Brittany Russell. Sheldon Russell is 7-5 a morning line. Let's take a look at the video of this one's most recent start on the 29th of December. It wasn't a good one.
Wasn't a good one at all, just sort of lunged at the start. And remember, this is for a $30,000 Maiden Claiming tag, so this is a big drop in class for New Boots this afternoon. New Boots did recover after this break and ran quite well to be 4th. You can understand that she flattens out a little bit, but I do like the fact that she makes a run to get into this race despite the poor start and ends up finishing an okay 4th. She's the horse to beat, not because of this good performance with a bad trip, but just simply because her figures tower over the rest of this field.
They do tower. She's going to have to break a little bit better, but she's shown that speed in her first 2 races. And Sheldon just tried to get her to settle a little bit off that trouble beginning, took a rating hold, then very wide. made a pretty decent move, 4-5 wide into the lane, just to flatten ever so slightly late. I do think she is going to be up on the engine with a good break. That means my top selection, not the first time, jamming down off the maiden special weight, is going to have to get to the front and go. But also, here's a little stat on Brittany Russell. Maidens.
Yeah, I think Brittany knows where to place these horses. 18 for the last 34, 229 ROI. The maidens taking at least a 50% drop in claiming price. So figure edge, tactical speed, decent closing kick. She's obviously the horse to beat. We're taking some slight stabs against. I like Marmara.
Okay.
You're going with not the first time. And let's talk about not the first time. I like in maiden claiming races, lower level races, horses dropping with speed. And that's what you're getting from the rail with not the first time, who also has a very nice wet track pedigree. Not going to be fooled by that poor running line in the slop last time.
Yeah, I packed it in last time. That was first time blinkers, and I did chase her in that race at 7-2. She just got out there. Only gave me about 3/8 of a mile effort before dropping back. Was against the grain in New York, 2 races back. That's what kind of got my attention. Yeah, first time Lasix. Not the greatest stat, right? Over the last 2 years or so. Maiden special weight, the Maiden Claiming, has been very good for deposit. So what's it going to be? I'm going to need a good break for not the first time because I think she's going to take some heat from new boots as well. Let's go to race 2. Race 2 on the card at 1 1/8. A nice little starter 8,000. No scratches in race 2. We both agree here that the return of Everett Song was pretty impressive. This horse has come off a couple really, really big breaks in his career. But let's go to the video of that race last time out on December 8th at Laurel Park.
First start off a 409-day layoff, taking a big drop in class. You had to wonder, was it a suspicious drop? It was not. Everett Song was outrun a little bit, turning back to 7 furlongs. I think this horse is more of a 2-turn horse, and I just think in this race he got a fast pace, and he's able to show his class and run down a pretty good horse in Johnny French Fry, who I think we came back and won yesterday, didn't he?
To the front yesterday.
Again,
dictated.
This is another horse who was 4 wide on the backstretch that day, was hard-ridden on the turn, displayed his class to win. I don't think he's going to bounce off that race. He is bred to really handle a wet track. Liam's map 20% with wet track runners. The Dam went 2 for 2 on a wet track. I just think that last race shows he can still step, and 2 turns is okay. He's going to get closer to the pace this time.
Some really big races on the go back, and you look at the field right. Not a lot of pure speed types. Everett Song, they got away with it though. 7,500 was not, protected off that break, and right back protected today for the connections. But Ace 9-9, another one, was off a pretty substantial layoff. Hampered, looks like the main speed today, I would assume. Hampered by that outer trip going into the first turn last time.
This is a very dangerous horse, and first we'll talk about the trainer stat for Horacio De Paz. First off the claim on the dirt, 3 for the last 13, a $3.16 ROI. Ace 9-9 is a speed horse. He returned off the layoff last time out, and I think post position really compromised him. He broke from post position 7 with the short run into the first turn. There was a crush of horses going for the early lead. He could not make the lead, was forced into stalking from the outside, and at the end of the day, he was still trying very hard all the way down to the wire to finish 4th. As you mentioned, his first race off a long layoff. With that race under his girth, with the new barn trend, he is going to be aggressively ridden by Kevin Gomez, and I think he can get to the front and drop the anchor.
Yeah, out of that condition race, a little tougher group here, but it's shown in the past to fit well in these starter races. He likes Laurel Park, and again, I think he goes to the front with a good break. It could be a lineup race. Ace 9-9 and Everett Song, in my opinion. If they don't go too fast and furious, one lets the other go, a little shadow trip, they can carry this field a long way at 1 1/8. So the real running might start at the 3/8 pole. You're also looking at Rumjar from the outside. Enough natural speed, I think, to get into contention.
You hit the nail right on the head, and that's the reason I put him in here, because he is fast enough that even from this outside post position, he can get close to what could be a moderate pace and not lose too much ground going into the first turn. This horse has races on the go back, 87 Beyer speed figure, 5 starts back, but it makes me wonder if he's a Monmouth horse for course. His best races come at Monmouth. He's 0 for 10 at Laurel. He was a little bit disappointing last time out, But I do think with his best race at a price, maybe you split the favorites and make your number.
Yeah, look for him at the value there to boost that exact. A 5.832 in race 2 for Dan. Looking at Gambling Czar and the horse from the rail, to maybe they don't have that big run, but a 1.1 miles, I think it fits both of these. Gambling Czar, I give a little bit of edge over the 1 here. I go 5.321. Let's go to race number 3. Race number 3, we do have a scratch, and it was a horse I thought that was going to make an impact in here. Scratch the 1, Fire of Anatolia. 5.5 furlongs for maiden claimers. These are 3-year-olds, 30 down to 24. Now we're left with a field of 7. Dan, blow by him the other Kieran that stays in here.
Yeah, this horse showed some speed last time out. I thought that track was not very kind to speed. And not only did he show speed, a good angle for me, and it's an old Andy Beyer angle. Horses that show improved speed in their second lifetime start, it's often a sign that they're going to get better and going to improve.
Okay.
He battled with the 5-1 runner-up that day, was outpaced a little bit in between horses, got a little bit tired, but he's getting Lasix for the first time. It is another Kieran third-time starter. We're getting Jamie Rodriguez aboard. This horse is tactical enough to stay close to the pace. I'm expecting improvement, but I also think that your top selection, Night Preacher, is simply the horse to beat.
Yeah, it looks like the horse to beat. 22-2, 46-2 back in that November the 3rd race at this maiden 30 level. Carried it a long way in that tussle just to fade very late. I don't know if anybody's as quick as this one.
Yeah, he's
through the opening quarter of a mile. I think if he clears Lasix on, could carry it a long way. I'll let you talk about the 4, Knucker Punk for David Mohan. This one I do think is going to be a pretty good price.
A little bit of pedigree here for David Mohan, who's not known for winning with first-time stars, but is certainly a capable trainer. This Second Dam was a nice horse, a multiple stakes-winning dirt sprinter that also won the career debut. Long string of workouts here for Knucker Punk. Again, the 8 and the 6 look strong, but I don't think we are going to see the Kentucky Derby winner coming out of this race, so maybe it's a good spot for a first-time starter, and Knucker Punk is going to offer value on the tote.
Okay, and Buzz Adams is another firster you're interested in, this Pennsylvania bred coming down here for Bruce Kravitz.
I always liked Waigilia, a very underrated stallion. I know Butch Reed's got a ton of them up in Pennsylvania and does very well with them. This dam's a half to a multiple stakes-winning dirt sprinter that was a career debut winner. The Second Dam was a stakes-place dirt sprinter, so this horse is bred for speed. Coming up from the Penn National base, another horse going to be a price.
Yeah, if you're looking for precocious, you've got it in the 7, Fly Pelican. Problem is, both debut-winning siblings did it on the turf. Now, will this one be able to get it done on the dirt? Forrest Boyce, a couple good rides yesterday, got a win and just missed with Bondiva.
Really nice ride by Forrest Boyce to get the win, by the way. But you mentioned the turf close-up in the family. There's turf back in the family as well. The Dams have to a Grade 1 stakes-winning turf rider. Amerique won the San Juan Capistrano. It's a far cry from 5.5 on the dirt.
That's good. Stakes action starts here. Race number 4. Middle pick 4, races 4, 5, 6, and 7. Also starts the Chesapeake pick 6. No scratches, a field of 7. There you go, 20-cent minimum wager for the Chesapeake pick 6, the jackpot wager. Races 4 through 9 today. We both agree. Mavelis, really impressed by that most recent effort.
Mavelis has run a bazillion times in her career, and we know she's good, and we know she's capable in the state-sired stakes ranks. She won the Conniver back in 2023, rallying from off of the pace. But her most recent victory was super impressive. I think it was the best I've ever seen her run, because she wasn't as far back as usual, and she was just traveling so sweetly on the turn. Once she got to the outside, she put that field away pretty quickly. J-Rod had his choice of 2 horses in this race, Mavelis and Call Another Play, who won the Weber City Miss last year. He's sticking with Mavelis. Carlos Mancia, 2 winners yesterday. The key with this horse is pace. She needs pace.
His horses showed up yesterday, no doubt about it. Mavelis, I think we tabbed that one at 27-1 that day. A little pat on the back, but that was like Ruiz. That was the relation. Ruiz knew that. Knows this mare very well. Now can J-Rod step in and get it done at a good number at a 6-1 morning line? On-court commentator looks like the one here, the 4-year-old filly trained by Brittany Russell, ridden today by Sheldon Russell, that might have just enough upside to go a little bit more and get this stakes victory today, this restricted stakes in the Geisha.
Took the words right out of my mouth. She is the upside play. We've probably seen Marvelous's best race. We've probably seen some of the others with their best races. Not so with on-court commentator, who overcame a moderate pace to rally from out of it last time out. Her buyer speed figures are going the right way. Another horse that, though, needs pace. It'll be interesting to see. Is she a stronger closer than Marvelous? Will they get enough pace to set them up? I know I get a better price on Marvelous.
Yeah, I think Royal Whisper needs to break. She's had some issues. That's the 5 for Michael Gorham. Bourbon Bombay, this is as many races she's ever run in a row. The 8-year-old here trained by Annette Allard. These two will supply some pace. I think Call Another Play will be close. Gold Digging Broad on occasion has been up with it. I think she'll get that stalking trip today. But a mare that I like, and this is the one we're talking about, Arrogate, the stallion here for Too Many Kisses, a sire of Too Many Kisses. This track comes up wet. You better pay attention. We've got a video spotlight of the 7 Too Many Kisses, and I don't even mind her on a dry surface.
Why not? She looks really good on a dry surface. She is a very consistent and underrated mare trained by Tim Keefe. And as you see, she's also traveling very comfortably in behind horses. She's just waiting for her cue. And Forrest gets her right into the clear, gives her aim, and she's just going to go about her business here and win as much the best. This is her race, what, 2 starts back when she wins by 4? And she's very, very game and comfortable winning. They tried her in the carousel last time out. I do wonder if a mile and an eighth is just a little bit far for her against Open Stakes Company. She's 2 for 2 lifetime against state-sired foes, and if it's wet, Arrogate, 25% winners from wet track runners. The dam has foaled 2 wet track winners already from 4 to try. I think Too Many Kisses is a horse that always shows up and usually offers a little bit of value.
I think she's a player in here. I think she's going to slide into a great trip with Forrest Boyce. And that was a really good time that day. 2 races back on the 17th of November. 37-2 for the flat mile, that 1-turn mile. Sharp, sharp effort and reeled in the loose leader. That's an angle I always talk about that I really, really like. That's a look. You're 1-3-2-4 in the Geisha. Did you want to touch upon Golding Abroad or Call Another Play?
Well, Call Another Play is a horse we know has back class. She won the Weber City Miss. She was in very good form, but her last few races have just simply been disappointing. From her last race, I can at least give her a mulligan because she was dueling on a very fast pace, going a mile and an eighth. They went the second quarter mile in 23-3, and she was battling for the lead, but she tired very badly. She has to prove that she's not a little bit over the hill, but she does have the tactical speed to be close to what could be a moderate pace, and she does have that back class.
Yeah, you got to demand some value on her. She just hasn't gotten back to some of those back races. That's a look at the first 4 today. We'll be back after this commercial break for race 5 and our late value pick 5.
Baltimore! To the city of Baltimore, to all the fans watching around the world, riders up!
They're off in the Preakness.
All eyes of the world will be on Baltimore.
They're head and head. Seabiscuit leads by a length. Seabiscuit is the winner.
And it was a powerhouse race again by the big, strong Secretariat.
Sunday Silence takes the lead at the quarter pole.
American Barrow, phenomenal in the Preakness. And the filly did it! Rachel Alexandra! Marty Jones, he wins the Preakness by a dozen lengths. She's the brave, wins the Preakness.
All right, we're glad you're back, and you're glad you're with us today on Today at the Races for this really nice Saturday card at Laurel Park, the new Maryland Jockey Club. This kicks off the late value pick 5, 12% takeout. We're really looking forward to that. This is a great bet. One of the best, if not best, bets in racing. We've got a target today. We've got a carryover of $4,264. So please jump in, hit repeat, whatever you got to do. Let's push this thing way, way up. We want a big handle here for this late value pick 5.
We got
You gotta take
McKenzie,
it-
right?
Oh, yeah,
McKenzie's
we
got
can't
a
forget
ticket
about
coming
that.
in.
We got a
First, we'll take a
scratch
look
here.
at the entry, however.
Yeah.
Shape Note, the 3. I liked Shape Note coming back from Mahoning Valley off the confidence boost. Shape Note scratch, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going with the other farrier. Nancy made my day. We'll get to that in a second, but we do have Max Pick 5 coming up. We'll check that out because, again, 12% takeout. We've got, of course, the carryover in here. Let's talk a little bit about it. 5 and the 7 in race number 5. Of course, Monday morning. QB is going to be one of the major players in there. The single comes in race number 6, and it's a very logical single, isn't it? The number 9 speediness, tough beat last time out. This horse could be the speed of the race. 2-4 in race 7, 1-3-7 in the 8th, and a little spread in the 9th. $24 ticket, very affordable.
Very affordable. Good little structure there for you to get you started. Add a little bit if you need be. She does not have in race 5 my top selection, Quick Tempo, but she's better handicapper. She knows what she's doing. We're going to trust in Mackenzie Pfeiffer for this late value pick 5. Let's take a look at it. As you talked about, scratch the 3 Shape Note. You're leaning the other farrier that stays in. This horse was impressive first off the claim. Now, and it was on a track with some moisture in it. The 6, and Nancy Made My Day.
I liked what Nancy Made My Day did that day. Now, I realize he was favored and he is now stepping up in class, but he was able to stay 4 wide within range of the leaders on the backstretch, and when it was time to go, he went and he drew away. It's the same farrier Julio Hernandez combination that won the feature race yesterday at a pretty nice price. And if you look at Nancy Made My Day, this horse has been very, very competitive since returning off of a short layoff. I believe the winner yesterday, the feature, was also going second off the claim for farrier. So there's an angle there. Nancy Made My Day. Maybe a decent price because Monday morning quarterback's taking money.
Yeah, let's go to the video spotlight. We have that of Monday morning quarterback's most recent race, November the 28th. It's another one that scratched yesterday, comes back today.
Monday morning quarterback looked good in here. This is a fast pace. The opening quarter mile, 23:01. The second quarter, even faster, 22:93. It's not bothering Monday morning quarterback. Tori Alba actually took a peek back. He's got Whiskey and You cooked. He turns into the stretch confidently handled, and he's going to have to work a little bit in the stretch here, but it's a good field he's facing. The third place finisher came back to run third again, earning an 81 Beyer speed figure, and Monday morning quarterback is not just a horse that's come out of nowhere to win 3 out of his last 4 since being claimed by Kieran. This guy's got plenty of back class. Didn't he win the Maryland Million Classic in 2020?
Yeah, going on the go back. Yes. Yeah, he's been really, really good. This 8-year-old. And he could easily be 4 of his last 4. He had a major excuse 2 races back, hitting the gate, just couldn't quite overcome that, only beaten a length and a half when running second in a similar spot. But looks like you can trust Monday morning quarterback to go ahead and get that prompting trip and maybe break through that barrier. 0 for 9 at the 6 furlong distance. 4 seconds might just get that first win at 6 furlongs today. I go inside with Quick Tempo. This is a horse that likes Laurel Park. Second off of a break. Strong stat, over 30% off of this kind of break for Ness. Is going to have to be on his game out of the gate early to go ahead and go. Icing interesting with J-Rod on that one on the outside. Could be the thorn in the side. But Quick Tempo is very, very fast. 1 for 1 on an off track. I think he can get to the front clear and keep going. Interesting, this horse was avoided claim 2 races back in May. Comes back. Just kind of quit, gave way readily, it looks like, last time out at Parks. But they don't drop.
I am going to give this horse a mulligan for that last race
All
because
right.
not only was it the layoff, look at the fractions for that race. 22.35 for the opening quarter, 23.03 for the second quarter. So not only is he going off the layoff and he might be a short horse, but he's dueling on the pace against a good field. The runner-up came back, one of 2 next out winners. That horse won with an 85 Beyer speed figure. Quick Tempo is going to live up to his name if he breaks. I think he gets to the front.
Okay, I'm hoping he goes a long way, and hopefully wire to wire. You're 6, you're 7, you're 9. Whiskey and You, who we just saw in that recent video.
Yeah, didn't exactly fire his best shot that day, but at least he came back and bounced back with a much improved effort when finishing second. Irish Warlock, who's also in this race, and that's kind of the story with Whiskey and You. He don't win very often, but once in a while he's going to sneak into the number at a price, and I think he's pace adaptable enough where if it's fast, he can come from out of it. If it's slow, Carrasco can keep him close to the pace. He handles a wet track. I'm trying to sneak him into the try at a price.
I think the pace, obviously, with quick tempo in here and a horse like Icing, Whiskey and You likes to be fairly close. It's going to be honest. Could you see anybody? Do you have anybody that maybe is not on our picks? Is that deeper closer to complete a trifecta, a superfecta that you just don't want to leave out because if things fall apart, they're going to be there to take advantage.
Absolutely. The number 2, Cajun Dream. First off, the Kenny Cox Claim. Kenny, a very underrated trainer here, usually has him ready to go. And Cajun Dream caught a pretty quick pace last time out, rallied to finish 4th. The third-place finisher came back to win at Parks with a 71 Beyer speed figure. If the 1 and the 8 go gangbusters on the lead and there's a barbecue, Cajun Dream at a price will be running in the stretch.
Yeah, even Kings River, another one if you can afford. This is a horse I chased last time, had a little setup. Maybe it'll be a little bit better today. So let's go to race number 6, the Jennings Stakes. 75,000, registered Maryland bred, Maryland sire. They all stay in a field of 9. Speediness, your 3-2 morning line favorite, and should be taking a ton of play. You love the style of this horse, but you're going to go inside, and boy, did Feeling Woozy and Speediness put on a display back in November. Feeling Woozy for Hammy Smith and an 8-1 morning line with Tori Alba.
Yeah, Feeling Woozy, kind of a similar situation as Marvelous. This horse just gave a career best effort out of not nowhere. He's run some big ones in the past, but I was talking to Hammy early this week, and the fact that this horse is so inconsistent is maddening to Hammy, and it's maddening to me, but I did like the way Feeling Woozy won that race. He did get close to the pace. He made the move, staying well off the rail, turning into the stretch, and he kept on going. The concern here is turning back to a mile with some fast horses. I'm not sure he can stay as close to the pace, so demand value on Feeling Woozy. Speediness is the horse to beat. We've got a video spotlight of Speediness and the Robert T. Manfuso. Speediness is in here. So is his good friend Hit the Road Jack. And, Hit the Road Jack didn't exactly have the greatest start in this race, but Speediness was hustled out of there, and this is what he likes to do. He likes to get to the front. He was able to clear off on the back stretch, but I wonder if the 1 1/16 that day just kind of got to him a bit. He's 3 for 3 at a mile. He really appreciates this distance. They turn for home. Speediness has to deal with the New York Invader film star. Hit the Road Jack tried to make a prolonged run into this on the outside. He's just going to flatten out late. Another horse turning back to the mile will help.
I thought this was a really good race by both runners. Hit the Road Jack caught 5 wide around that first turn. Went after a really good horse, a couple of really good horses, and just couldn't quite sustain, but still effort is there. You see the effort. Now draws inside with a speedy Feeling Woozy, maybe trying to go early. Captain Quint, Quint Sprue, Speediness also going out there to the front. I think this one drafts into a very good position with Thais Laia Pistina, saving more ground today, and at the 1 mile has proven it can run a really, really big race. Another one perfect at the distance between those two, 7 for 7, the 2 and the 9 at the mile.
And we got a trainer stat for Hit the Road Jack as well. Rudy Sanchez Salomon, December the 22nd to January the 11th, 4 for 15, a $4.05 ROI. So this barn is going well, and Hit the Road Jack again. Hope tactical enough that I think he can stay close if Speediness tries to drop the anchor on the backstretch. A horse with some upside.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Big Blue Line, the Maryland bred. Was this horse entered Maryland Million Day? Was that horse called on the eligible list? I can't remember. I thought that was a target. I could be wrong, but anyhow, it's my top selection in here. And Big Blue Line, to me, looks like a dirt horse for the most part. All wins are on the dirt. Ran well with first time blinkers on the dirt. First time blinkers on the dirt back at Saratoga, the 1-turn mile.
Yeah,
at Saratoga. Got it done over a horse that came back recently and has won a Grade 3.
Talked to Will Walden earlier this week. He said that one of the reasons they claimed this horse was not only because of his overall consistency, but because they had that race at Saratoga in mind. And it's nice when a plan works out, and it's rare when a plan works out in this business. He had some turf and synthetic pedigree. Will wasn't happy with the trips this horse got in the John Henry and the Sycamore against tough competition on turf. They ran him on the synth last time out. I just think that's a really good prep to get him back to dirt, drop him in with state-sired competition. He's a player.
This horse has been involved in some big fields. Has not had the cleanest of trips. I think the flow is going to be okay in here, obviously with Speediness and horses like Quint Sprue, who we haven't seen after that trouble beginning. This horse showed a ton of talent in those first 2 races, unfortunately caught up in a jam up in the start of NASCAR, but back and fresh and could be a real presence, and it's one that Speedy might have to deal with into and around the turn.
He's now with Ned Allard. He's one of two full brothers in this race. You've got the other Captain Quint in here as well, both coming off layoffs. Quint Sprue was entered on Halloween, came up and grabbed his quarter, had to miss a little bit of time, so that was one of the reasons for the layoff. Ned told me earlier this week he loves the way both these horses are training, especially Quint Sprue.
Could be a really good race here. And Circle P. Okay, Tyler Connor got a win yesterday. This horse, maybe the mile is a touch too much, but I think things are going to set up to his liking. He could be a major player making that earlier run, top of the stretch, see if he can sustain through the final 3/16 of a mile. That's a look at the Jennings. Dan, 1925. I'm 3295 in race 6. Race 7, the Water Summer Stakes. A field of 6 fillies and mares at a $100,000 purse, going 6 furlongs. 8-5, St. Benedict's Prep. 7-5, Can't Hurry Love. A New York Invasion here for the What a Summer Stakes.
Certainly, and Can't Hurry Love has been a very, very consistent New York bred for a long time, and we're going to watch her most recent start. This race is off of a layoff. David Duggan told me earlier this week that they wanted to run her at Saratoga. She had some foot issues. They put her on some swim therapy. She likes to swim. Maybe a wet track will be good for Can't Hurry Love. She's won 3 times on wet going. In this race, she got away with a pretty easy pace. Yes, it's contested by Autumn Evening, but they got a nice breather on the second quarter. But Can't Hurry Love, ever since Duggan's put the blinkers on, has just found that extra gear and will to win. Both the second and third place finishers came back to win. It looked like she's toast here, but she just finds another gear and gets it done. The runner-up would come back to win an allowance race at Akrook with an 85 Buyer's speed figure. She's got big speed. This very well could be her last start. She's entered in a sale next month.
And she's 2 for 2 with the blinkers. The blinkers went on back in June, got it done, followed it up with that gritty win last time out. There is some speed in here to the inside. Miss Bushero outside St. Benedict's Prep. Obviously, Can't Hurry Love has speed. I do think she can adapt if needed. That's the 4, Can't Hurry Love. Let's talk about your top selection, St. Benedict's Prep.
And we have a trainer stat for Linda Rice. Now, we talked to Rodman earlier today. He's trying to talk me off this horse a little bit with a different stat. I did not. I waited for the show to retort.
You
Linda
didn't
Rice,
fear the Rod Dog. No
winner
fear of the
last
Rod
out.
Dog.
7 for the last 22, 32%, 201 ROI. St. Benedict's Prep, from a speed figure standpoint, has run 91 and 92 Buyer's speed figures in her last 2 starts. And if she runs something like that today, I just simply think she's going to win. I also like this outside post position a lot for her, because you mentioned that Can't Hurry Love and Miss Buchero have speed. And if they go out there, I can see J-Rod's having St. Benedict's Prep sitting in a prime 3-wide tracking position, ready to pounce on the sweeping turn.
Okay, 6-4-2-1. Miss Bushero, she's run some really good races over this racetrack, and you talk again about maybe splitting the favorites. Is that your choice?
I think that Miss Buchero is the kind of horse in here that getting back to 6 furlongs is really going to help. 6.5 was testing last time out for her, and look at the fraction she contested: 22.23, 23.07, and still kept going, beating Bourbon Bombay, who we'll see earlier in the card. Now, this is a tougher spot, obviously, with the New York Invaders, but if we get a downpour, she is 2 for 2 on wet going, and she is going to be going to the top under the aggressive X-Man.
Figs look like they're going back in the right way for Spencerian, who got it done last time in the restricted politely. But you go a couple races back, 85, 89, they stack up. Foxy Jr., really nice mare. She's a player in here. Going to have to do that chase mode. She can kind of ramp things up from the quarter pole home. 6-4-2-1 for Dan in race 7. I'm 4-6-1-2. The 8th race is the Fireplug Stakes. 8th race of a 9-race card here today at Laurel Park. Maryland Jockey Club. Exciting things on the horizon here. $100,000 pot guaranteed. 1 scratch, the 6. Full Irish, 6.5 furlongs for the Fireplug. Dan, a little bit of a stranger here, but a pretty nice racehorse in Two Ducks Opportunity.
I'm just looking for a horse with a little bit of upside and a little bit of a stranger danger, sort of. Two Ducks Opportunity goes out for Elisha Perez, and this is a horse that just has matured gradually with each and every start. And it seems like distance isn't an issue. Wins sprinting, wins going 2 turns. Running style is an issue. Can win up close to the pace, can win from off of it. I like that versatility. The last race, if you look at the races at Penn National International that day, speeded very well, and Tudok's Opportunity was pressing the pace all the way around, but was very, very game to win that race. I just think the price is going to be fair on Tudok's Opportunity, and I wonder if there's still a little bit of upside facing a group of horses where we might have already seen their best.
What kind of trip do you envision? Do you see her? I mean, see him. You see some races, that two-back race. They were clicking right along behind Vies and chasing. Is it a stalking pounds kind of a trip, or do you think Torres could get a little bit of aggressive and try to throw him into the mix right off the bat?
Well, that scratch of Full Irish kind of makes this race very, very interesting and maybe slows the pace down a little bit. I do expect Freeze the Fire to be close. I do expect On the Mark maybe even to be on a send from the far outside, but I think Torres is going to have Tudok's Opportunity close. Maybe not outright on the lead, but sitting second or third in a good spot. We'll see if he's good enough.
Okay, let's take a look at our video spotlight horse, Repo Rocks for Jamie Ness, this 7-year-old. He's run some big ones in the past, and turning back in distance, this is the last time, right, he sprinted. This was a Colonial, going 6.5.
This is a restricted allowance race. This is a horse that is a multiple graded stakes winner. Repo Rocks was expected to really appreciate the class relief. He's traveling in behind horses, and he's just waiting for a seam. And there's the seam, and now Repo Rocks looks like maybe he's in a little bit of trouble, but he's really not. His class is too much for these horses, and he's going to grind them down. He is closing in on $1 million in lifetime earnings, and ever since this race, he's been taking on some tough competition. The Parks Dirt Mile, a race where he might have been a little bit too aggressive early. The Cigar Mile, where he was probably a little bit intimidated by being down on the inside. And then last time out, the Chris Kringle, another race where he was pulling very hard in the early stages. Turning back allows him to relax better early, to sit off the pace and rally like he did in the video spotlight we just showed.
He's run some really, really big races. This 10-time winner now at the ripe age of 7. I go On the Mark. I think this horse, I know it was a 3-horse field last time, maybe just got a little lost on the lead, factored in a very nice horse of Mancia's who beat him that day. He's proven without Lasix. He's in the form of his life right now. Maybe a little decline in that buyer. I see it going back up with a scratch of Full Irish. I like a spy trip here for On the Mark. Don't make the move too soon. He can fight you from mid-turn to the wire. I like this horse. I'm going to lose a little value with this scratch of Full Irish.
But he's still going to be a very playable price, I think, in this race. And that outside post gives a lot of options to the rider. Prince of Jericho, a very, very consistent runner. We've got a trainer stat for Brittany Russell, December 7th through January the 10th, 26% winners, a positive ROI. Talked to Brittany earlier this week, exasperated that this horse continues to draw the rail time after time again. Prince of Jericho drew the rail last time out, saved ground every step of the way, looked like he was going to shoot on through and win, and then a big long shot came widest and fastest to beat him. But this is a very, very consistent horse. Just look at those buyer speed figures. He shows up each and every time, 13 of 18 in the exacta, and he's very dangerous.
Yes, he is. Absolutely. Certainly belongs and will be a player here in the 8th race, the Fire Plug. So that completes our stakes action in race 8. We move to race number 9, our nightcap today at 6 furlongs. Maiden Claiming, 3-year-old fillies, 12-5 down to 10. No scratch. One rider change here. The 7-star Venezuelan is Mario Villalobos. I thought this was a race to take a shot. I'm going to get my pick right over with right here. Raven X at a 20-1 morning line. Completely dirtied up form in its first 2. Hasn't been seen since November. But we get a lot of changes here. Blinkers going on. First time Lasix. This horse took some sneaky play in debut out of a double key race, May of 24. Flashed some speed, dropped back, green, nothing from there. Schumann has struck with a price. This horse is, I think, got 4 winning siblings. All the siblings have won, including a $200,000 earner. So there's some quality within this family. We jam down in price. Just give me that sneaky long shot to make the day or get you out if needed. So Raven X here at 20-1 for me.
Spicing up that value, pick 5, 12% takeout, carryover going in. I like that. Not only the changes that you mentioned, but turf to dirt, route to sprint as well. And this is the kind of race where a lot of times you get a shocker. Sweet No-No, on the other hand, is going to be a lot shorter price, or at least I think he's going to be. Let's watch Sweet No-No's career debut for Milan Milosevic. This horse was 22-1, and Sweet No-No showed good speed from the start. I thought this pace was legitimate, and he's going to stay on to finish ahead of, guess what? Not one, not two, but 3 next out winners. One of them coming back to score at Charlestown with a 38 Beyer speed figure. Sweet No turns for home here is looking pretty good. This is a very promising debut try, and guess what? It came over a muddy track. He might get some wet going again.
This is a big exact. Robbie Bell's horse, Golden Aurora, 18-1, is going to be able to sustain a wide run with that left-handed pressure. Watch Sweet No dig in. One collared at the 16th pole. She is dead game. Big exact payoff for the fans. I know one lucky customer who had that up at Greenmount Station. I don't name names. I'm not going to name names, but that was a good day in having that exact Sweet No Golden Aurora. 8 horse, Born Charmer. Let's talk about the first-time starter. This intrigued me a little bit. You're going with this one as your top selection. I love the breeding aspect. My biggest concern,
X-Men?
Why is she? No, why is she? That is one, but why is she in for 15? It's a quality family.
It's a quality family, but again, they only bought this horse for $6,500. I think they're trying to score here first time out. Born Charmer, again, I like the Irish War Cries on a wet track. He clicks with 19%. He's a half to Dendrobia, a quality stakes place turf sprinter. But when you go back in the family, there's dirt here. The dam's a half to 5 black type earners, including the grade 2 stakes winning dirt miler Kiss to Remember, a horse named Pete's Play Call, who earned a 104 Beyer speed figure on dirt. So there's precocity, there's speed in this family, and I just trust Jerry Robb with first-time starters. We got a trainer stat 4 for the last 15.
Wow.
First-time starters for Jerry Robb, $2.32 return on investment. So yeah, I'm looking for a stranger in here. I have a feeling the early tote action will tell if I'm right or wrong.
Yeah, and you mentioned speed. It looks like the one Sunshine Hazel, although it's pretty quick internals, had Lasix at Penn last time out, coming back on shorter rest, going to try to set sail from the inside.
That's the way to do it, and a lot of times in these maiden claiming races, it's the way to go. Second to a favorite last time out, earned a respectable Beyer speed figure, running and gunning from the wood.
And the 5. Fourth different racetrack, I believe, right? In the fourth try. Third. Saratoga, Belmont, and Aqueduct. But interesting turning back, adding Lasix, and a little bit of a drop for Claudio. You've got Raul Mena, interesting horse to make that run from off the pace.
Another horse that got wired last time out, and you could certainly make the argument this is a double drop in class going against from those New York bred quarter maidens into this 12-5. If she can run at all, she's going to show it here.
Okay, it's best play time. That's going to wrap up the field. And real quick, before I forget, happy birthday, Gina. My wife turns 29
happy
today.
Birthday.
Yeah, she'd be like, she wishes she was 29, but yeah, she's doing
there's
all
the
right.
couch for you tonight.
But no, let's get to the best plays here, Dan. I'll start off with mine. How's that?
Go ahead.
If we've got it. Everett Song. Thanks, guys. Race 2, number 5, Everett Song. I think just came back in great form off of that long layoff. Now protected in a race devoid of any true speed. Ace 9-9, I think, will go. I think we got a stalk and pounce kind of trip in store for this Hugh McMahon runner.
I'm going with St. Benedict's Prep, down from New York for trainer Linda Rice. Listen, I guess in this race there are going to be some handicappers. They're going to use the 2 favorites in the pick 5. I am going to gamble. This is a gambling game. I'm singling, and St. Benedict's Prep is going to be my single in the 12% value pick 5 with the carryover. I just think a trip is coming, and I love this horse's figs in the last 2.
All right. Yesterday, a big price. Today, a little shorter price. But you know what? A winner's a winner. That's what we want here. That's what we're trying to do today at the races. Dan Ullman, I appreciate your time today. Great insight as always. 20 minutes to post up to Dave Rodman for some changes and scratches.
Good luck.